Now, the question this Friday morning is one my 10-year-old daughter frequently asks is, what makes anything cool? Now, hundreds gathered in Johannesburg last night for the Sunday Times Generation Next 2010 Survey Awards, where the so-called coolest brands of them all revealed as voted by South Africa's youth. Now, joining us now is Jason Levin, Managing Director of HDI Youth Marketeers, who conducted the survey. So, Jason, on this Friday morning, that's my first question. What makes anything cool?
I mean, I think it's kind of the X factor that's hard to describe, and it varies from category to category. So the thing that makes a bank cool is quite different to the thing that makes a person brand cool, and very different to what makes a Lamborghini, for instance, the coolest car. Lots of it is driven by just a phenomenon of talkability amongst young people, and this X factor, which makes the brand compelling in its category for whatever reason.
How do you measure it? That's the thing that gets me. I mean, do you get something and say, well, how cool is this? Is it very cool? Is it slightly cool? Is it warm? I don't know. How do you do it?
The only way really to measure it, because it's such a subjective thing, is to ask literally thousands of people. So in this survey, we asked 5,800 kids, teens, and young adults. And the question in the questionnaire is left very open-ended, exactly like that. What is the coolest chocolate, cold drink, TV program, car? And then it's left completely open to their interpretation of that word and of their own frame of experience.
And what is the point of all this research that you've done? I mean, what is the value of it when now you've done it?
Well, I mean, not that much for youth, but there's certainly a lot of consumption understanding around in the marketing industry. But there's not that much understanding around aspiration. So the minute you're asking the question of cool, you're not necessarily getting an indication of what bank do you use, what cold drink do you drink, what chocolate do you eat. You get a sense of what do you want to eat, what car would you want to drive. Toyota's not on the top 10 list of coolest cars, and Lamborghini as number one certainly isn't the most driven car, but it gives you a sense of where things are going, what the trends are, and what aspirations amongst young people are.
Well, let's take a look at some of the results you've got. I mean, the coolest FIFA World Cup soccer star is Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, was he a far and away winner?
He won by quite a way. I mean, the great thing though was that Teko Modise was number two, so we at least had a Bafana player in second spot. But he's a pretty much out and out winner.
I mean, would you agree with that, Sasha? Cristiano Ronaldo is the coolest thing on two legs in this World Cup.
I would put Teko Modise in first place.
Absolutely. Well, let's have a look at some other ones. I mean, the coolest petrol station, you've got Engine, followed by BP. I mean, I just go to petrol stations, I fill up my car, I leave. Yeah. I don't care either way. But I mean, how do people say a petrol station can be cool?
I mean, I think it is a relatively low involvement question, in all honesty, but it's one we added this year because just in terms of plotting the average day of an 8 to 22-year-old South African, as we do, you get a sense of how much time is spent at petrol stations just because kids are sitting in cars on their way to and from school and ballet and soccer and swimming. And then young adults obviously drive cars themselves and buy petrol in very small bursts at a time, so they end up being at the petrol station twice a week. So there are opinions about, as young people have opinions about almost every brand, and sometimes quite vehement opinions, they have a preference in petrol stations. And that's driven by service, driven by the nature of the convenience store, driven by whether it keeps diesel if they drive a diesel car. So it was interesting to see that there is a preference. And in this instance, it's pretty much a consumption preference. The gap between consumption reality and aspiration is quite small. Unlike, again, the Lamborghini question, I might prefer Lamborghini, I'm not going to buy one. But if I prefer Engine, I can certainly fill up there.
One thing's interesting. Do you ever get any disputes? Post-match disputes when you've said this is the coolest brand, this is the coolest petrol station. Everyone come and say, no, I'm sorry, I disagree. I don't think it's cool at all.
They do, yes. I mean, we definitely do have discussions like that. And that's the benefit of having a very, very large sample. If you've asked 100 people or 500 people, the findings might not feel as robust. But by the time you're close to 6,000, you're fairly sure that they're there and thereabouts. But some categories are very tightly contested, and one that traditionally is an extremely tight number 1 and 2 is fast food between KFC and McDonald's, and they kind of go past each other by a percentage point or decimal points every year. And categories like makeup equally very, very tight this year, where you can literally put a makeup brush, I guess, between the between the winners. So some categories are tight.
And we're talking about the World Cup just now, and Sasha, you'll be no doubt happy about this one too. Zakumi made it as the coolest mascot. He beat Ben 10 by a whisker, and also Simba the Lion, which I assume is from the Lion King. I mean, Zakumi, do you think that people are really taking him to their hearts in this World Cup?
I mean, that category is an interesting one because it's both brand and entertainment characters, as you say, like Ben 10. So to come out as a brand character, as number one, that's a great achievement. So he really does have popular appeal. And amongst youth, especially township youth, 2010 in the World Cup is just an enormous phenomenon. So he's riding that wave, I think, but he's a very popular character.
And what sort of criteria do you take when you're looking at it? I mean, when you're asking these questions of people?
Well, I mean, in terms of the selection of the categories, it's always hard because you want to create a questionnaire that all of the questions get answered to, and some of the younger respondents are have quite short attention spans. So we keep the questions set down quite tightly, and in the first round we shortlist down to close-ended options. So by the time we're interviewing the 5,800 respondents, there are close-ended options to the questions. And in categories like sweets, the list is very long. In categories like banks, the list is very short. But apart from the fact that the list is there, the rest of the answer is completely up to the respondent. What is the coolest bank sweet fragrance?
So Sasha, in your world of high finance, if someone said to you, listen, Sasha, what's cool? What would you say?
Go look on YouTube at most viewed and find the annoying orange. You know, I mean, it's nuts what goes viral and what doesn't, because ultimately it almost seems like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
One thought as well. I mean, I see the Sunday Times, who are one of the sponsors of it. They won the coolest weekly newspaper against the Sunday Sun and the City Press. I mean, people might look at that and say, surely you didn't have inside information on this one.
Yeah. I mean, the results are moderated by two academic partners. So we have a research principal who is from the University of Pretoria, and then Monash University are the validation partner. So the results are completely on the up and up. But you're right, it is a difficult one because it's the 6th year we've run the survey. It's the 6th year that they've won, and it is the Sunday Times Generation Next survey. But it is one of those brands that is also, it's like Coca-Cola and cold drink. It's hard to pip in its category, just in terms of the enormousness of its readership.
I'm sure your judges are top of the range, scrupulous and unbiased, I'm sure.